Hi guys, Demi Nguyen here from section number 21. I'm going to be doing this video response specifically to case number 2. So there are a few things that I kind of wanted to analyze before I formed my own conclusion as to whether or not it will be a good decision to put restrictions on Chinese student visas. The first being kind of the impact that these students actually have by being here in the U.S. And turns out, economically that impact is pretty huge. The CEO from the Association of International Educators actually puts this figure at around $12 billion. So $12 billion, that is a pretty big dent in our U.S. Education system. If you think about all these students that are coming over here, as the case summary stated, they're paying full price for tuition. Sometimes that's 2 to 3 times as much as what our U.S. students are paying at public universities here. And I do believe that that's probably even though our the cost of education is increasing, that's probably helps to have these students that are paying full price kind of subsidize and offset the costs that U.S. students are paying. And not only are they paying for tuition, but housing. They're making purchases at businesses here in the U.S. So $12 billion. I mean, that adds up, and I absolutely believe that these students are contributing that much to our economy. And by cutting that, I don't think would be a good idea or something that U.S. universities necessarily would want. And overall, I do believe that U.S. universities are trying to promote more foreign exchange students, diversity of culture, kind of worldwide vision. And so in that way also, I don't think that it would be a positive thing for U.S. universities to start, having a reduction in the amount of Chinese students that are coming over here. The second thing I wanted to consider is, well, how many of these students are actually here from China in the U.S.? So if we start telling them no, start putting restrictions on the amount that we allow over here, is that going to have a significant impact? And turns out it's going to have a huge impact, because out of the 1 million foreign students that we have here in the U.S., 1/3 are from China. And so that means that China is sending over double the amount of students than any other country that's sending students over here. And then from there, turns out 10% of those Chinese students are actually staying. They're getting doctorate degrees, and a majority of those doctorate degrees are in engineering and the sciences. And then from there, those that have those degrees, 80% are actually staying here in the U.S. and working in the U.S. And so that's something that I do believe is reassuring. And in order to address the issue of our technology, ideas being stolen, from China, turns out only a tiny fraction of students from China have ever been charged with illegal activity. And then from there, something that I found even more reassuring is that there are more Chinese engineers working on artificial intelligence here at U.S. technology companies than in all of China. And that was a statement that was released by the editorial board from Bloomberg View as well. So I don't believe that we should start cutting student visas that we are allowing for Chinese students. I think the most sensible thing that we can do in order to kind of protect our country's intellectual property, isn't, like I said, isn't to keep these talented foreign students out, but to continue to find ways to encourage them to stay in the U.S., put their knowledge, to use here by joining our workforce, or by starting businesses of their own. If we can, continue to give these students, the opportunity to come here and to, flourish in our U.S. Economy through what they've learned here, I think that's the best way in order to protect, like I said, our country's intellectual property, rather than putting these restrictions and not allowing students and kind of punishing these students. Isn't something that I believe that will be beneficial for our U.S. economy, for our universities, for other U.S. students, and for students that are here now and students that want to come over. So overall, my opinion is no. The Trump administration should not put restrictions on the amount of Chinese student visas that we allow over here in this country. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.